as moms, like we do, like when the kids are little, we spend a lot of time doing those things. Sometimes it's just because we got to get the heck out of the house because we're ready to pull our hair out. Like, oh my gosh, please. Like I need let's just go do something. Like you had to keep the days full. Otherwise they're crawling the walls. But I think now that the kids are older, it's even more special to find those activities to do and spend with them, especially now because Anthony's coming back from college. They want to see their friends too. And if they have girlfriends or like boyfriends, whatever it is, and it all goes by so fast.
Yeah.
So to take those moments where you can spend time as a family together and not just be passing by like in the morning or whatever, it's just so special, especially this time of year.
Yeah, I think it's a fine line because if you are going to capture your kids, especially if they're in college and they're coming home, right, they're going to have lots of different people priorities.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So it's a fine line between you have to have a plan because you can't just wake up in the morning and be like, oh, what should we do today? Because before you know it, your older kids are going to be like off and running, right? So it's a fine line between having a plan, thinking through the things that you really want to, the highlights you really want to create for your holiday. And then also, this is often a time of rest for us as moms and dads. Like it's a time where we're not hopefully having to rush out the door all, every day to get to our jobs, to do the things, just on the hamster wheel. So do we want to enjoy the week or couple of days or 2 weeks, whatever it looks like for you, where we can just like laissez-faire and just kind of go with the flow.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's in between. You've got to have a plan and you've got to have some time to go with the flow.
Yeah. I think moderation is
everything.
Yeah. So a little bit of it all, it is nice to just take the time, but I fear that once again, at least I know in my family life, if I don't take the time to plan something, it could just get away from us and we end up, I hate to look back on that season and then again, like I was going to say, not have special moments. Sometimes the special moments are just in the little things, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. The sitting around the couch after dinner, just chatting.
Exactly.
Laughing.
Whatever that is.
Yeah.
Yeah. But for me, I have tried when the kids were little, there were more things, but as the years went by, I would like one thing that we did together as a family. We knew there was going to be like, what are we doing as a family this Christmas? And I would encourage you start that tradition because it's been so fun for us. And I'm hopeful that then, and they do have girlfriends now, the girlfriends come, but as they get married and they have their own kids, we'll still have that time where that holiday season, there's one family outing or thing that we do. Right.
Yeah.
It's just so great. And I think they know it's coming and they look forward to it as well. And I used to pick everything. And then we got to the place where they would be complaining. So then finally I was like, okay, I'm not going to pick this then. Like you pick, you choose it and we'll do it. So we've had some fun, experiences over the years.
From that vantage point. So
yeah.
I think that for us and kind of back to a plan, like we travel for Christmas. We have every year because for various different reasons. When Lila was little, her older brother lived 2 hours away. So we would go there to spend the Christmas with him and stay with my in-laws. And then when he got a little bit older, then we took some time to go visit my family that I hadn't been shared a Christmas with because they live all the way in Canada. And then after that, it became like, well, gosh, since we're a 3-people family, it's like, well, we're lonely. We don't want to stay home. So then we decided that we were going to make this tradition of like going to a place that we share with my family in Florida. Yeah. And now you guys have a place there too, which has been so fun. And so we do the time there. But, I am a big person with like, I love the rituals and the same things, but I have to have like, for it to stand out, it has to be a novel and new experience. Like, so I'm a learner. I love so it'll be the same 2 weeks in many respects, but talking about that intentionality, talking about having that plan, I'll go on, do a little bit of research. I'll find something new. Mm-hmm. And we'll incorporate that new thing. And so that separates that year. This was the year in Florida that we did the airboat ride, or that we
That was fun.
Went to Disney with the grandkids or whatever it was.
Yeah.
That's different.
Oh, that was quite a trip for you last year.
Yeah. It was so fun.
Yeah.
That part was.
Yeah. Great. So you touched on a couple things there. You've done amusement parks.
Yeah, that's been a standby. Again, we're a family of 3. So, we're all kind of achievers. So we don't love to just sit home and sit around.
Yeah.
Like, we're better when we're in motion. And that's how we get rest, is by combining the motion with some fun. So we like to do the amusement park on Christmas Day, and it's been a tradition. I mean, we broke it last year just because of, like I said, the grandkids. We did something different, but
you did your amusement park before,
right?
You went to Disney
because of logistics, but for probably 6 or 7 years before that, or maybe even more.
Yeah,
we've been doing that on Christmas Day. There were years we were by ourselves, and then there were years that you guys were with us. You had your own Christmas, and then you drove up and met us. And some of the most fun Christmas memories have been
running through that park with the Christmas carols going and everything lit up. I never would have imagined, and we talked about this in previous episodes, but for me, like, I'm more of a traditionalist, so I would never imagine that on the holiday that would be fun, but it was really magical. It was really, really fun. I have been, so we do something that's like during the holiday season, but before Christmas, or things like that I try to focus on with the kids.
What are some of your mainstays?
And I will say, like, so I've incorporated this with my parents some years too, which has been really nice. We don't usually see them at Christmas, but they come to us for Thanksgiving. So a lot of times we would do our holiday thing over Thanksgiving weekend because they were there. So one year we went into Boston and we saw John Legend Christmas show, and it was in a little, like, at the Wang Theater, like where they do musicals and plays.
Intimate.
And my word, like, I will say, like, if you haven't thought about it, like, look into, like, artists that are releasing Christmas albums that year very often go on tour. And there is just nothing like seeing a Christmas concert, at least for me. It was so fun.
I've heard you go back to that, talk about that over and
over. My gosh, that was one of the best concerts. I mean, it was just incredible. It was so good. And Kenny and I have done that before. Before we had kids, we lived in Washington, D.C., and we saw Harry Connick Jr.
Oh, I love him.
When he came out with one of his Christmas albums. And it's just such a festive, and I would say that's like more of a thing that you would want to do with older kids, right? Because Christmas concerts, not always, with a littler one. Yeah. So that was a fun thing. And my kids loved it. We had so much fun, and we go to dinner beforehand, right? And get dressed up, and that's fun. And to the same end there. And I think you've done this as well, like a Christmas musical. Yeah. So we took the kids and saw The Christmas Story. Oh, that was really fun. And Elf too. Those were both on stage, and really fun. Yeah. We had a good time doing that. And same thing. Out for a nice dinner beforehand or afterwards, and a show. So think about that if you haven't. The kids enjoyed that. But then they got a little